All right, let's get started. Another episode. WrestleMania 33 is past us. We got the Raw and SmackDown episodes after WrestleMania, which traditionally are amped up and off the hook. You have the leftover fans from WrestleMania who attend these events, and it's still charged up atmosphere. It's like a week long now, WrestleMania season. But anyway, we'll start with the probably the biggest story. Uh, Raw opened up, and the fans were charged, chanting "Roman sucks" and "Thank you, Undertaker." But I mean, this went on for I think a good 7 8 minutes before dun 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 Roman Reigns' music hit, and that just charged up the fans even more. Very gutsy, I guess, on the part of WWE to throw Roman out to the fans like that. Of course, if you haven't if you don't know, you've been living on the rock. Sunday at WrestleMania 33, the main event, Roman Reigns defeated the Undertaker, and Undertaker left his jacket and hat and gloves in the middle of the ring. And now it's rumored that he's officially retired. So the fans, a lot of fans, a lot of Undertaker fans are upset that Undertaker not only lost his last match, but who he lost it to, Roman Reigns. A lot of people don't like Roman Reigns. A lot of people, a lot of fans. Those boos are not by accident. It's not a trend. It's not the cool thing to do. They don't like him. Maybe it's not so much that they don't like him as much as they don't like him being the focus of the show, aka the top guy. The, I think what it is the fans see another 10 years of this guy being pushed down their throats like Cena, and they're like, "Whoa, we went through this already. We're not going through this again. We don't want to see another guy that we don't want that as a top guy." So anyway, back to Raw. He comes out as usual, that smug look on his face. He comes to the ring, and the fans are just shitting on him left and right. He smirks. He grabs the mic and then every time he pretends or he acts like he's gonna talk, the fans just keep giving it to him. Different chants: "F you, Roman," "Go away," "You suck." And then, if you noticed, he did want something. He says he mounted something. Goes, "You're eating. I got you eating out of the palm of my hand." No, you don't. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. When somebody has somebody eating out of the palm of their hands, like wrestling, when they do cut a pro, that's like The Rock. When you have the fans eating out of the palm of your hand, that means you control everything they do. You get them to do what you want to do. He didn't. The fans had him eating out of the palm of their hands. And I don't want to hear this crap about how Roman is this big heel because he look at the reaction he got. He didn't do nothing to get that reaction. He was scripted. He got scripted to beat the Undertaker. He didn't do nothing. He had that reaction before. It now just got amplified. So anyway, I mean, I don't know. My friend Jimmy, he's right now on the roof of his house. He's being talked down. He doesn't want anything to do with WWE anymore. I read a lot of comments about fans. They had it. That's it. They're done. Listen, this is a storyline. I know sometimes we don't like it. Sometimes we do. The next night, the next week is a new episode, new storyline, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Roman cuts. He lifts up the mic and finally talks, and all he looks into the camera and says, "This is my yard now." And he drops the mic and leaves to more boos. This is another second year in a row, and he cut a dumb promo the night after WrestleMania. If you remember last year, his infamous I'm not the guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy promo. Now this year, it's my yard. He stinks on the mic. There's nothing to do. Nothing to. No way to get around it. He stinks on the mic. I don't know. I don't know what to make. Listen, the Undertaker, as far as him retiring, he looks old. He is old. He's 51, 52. You know, a lot of Undertaker fans who are mad or upset. Listen, I think the Undertaker should have retired 2 years ago after he lost to, in what was it, 2015? Not so much after losing the streak to Brock at WrestleMania, because they had two more really good matches after that. I think it was a SummerSlam and at the Hell in a Cell. Uh, it, Undertaker should have retired at Survivor Series in 2015. That's it. But listen, again, I've said it many times. I don't think the Undertaker knows what he's doing. I think he takes it month to month. This isn't the first time he's retired. I think last year he left his gloves in the ring. Also, maybe this it is probably serious now. But listen, the lure of that big payday to come back once or twice a year. I mean, it's tough. He gets in shape and pulls it off. But he looks old. He looks very old. He looks like the old Taker. You know, and it's time to give it up, because I mean, how many times could you get through before looking something happens and you look bad in the ring, and do you want to be remembered for looking bad in the ring? Then uh, having your fans or your non-fans talk about you botching or just having a bad match due to old age or physical limitations. So just, I mean, let's listen. It had to happen. Let's hope the Undertaker retires for good. We don't need to see him anymore. And oh, he lost to WrestleMania. He lost. Forget the streak was over 2 years ago. And who cares? The guy won 21 in a row, 20 in a row, whatever it is. Who cares? Undefeated, one defeat. Who cares? He had a 20 win streak match at WrestleMania. And again, you really want to be picky, come on, those first 10 opponents, who did he really beat? I mean, what? Jimmy Snook, an old Jimmy Snooker, an old Jake the Snake, a Giant Gonzalez, an old King Kong Bundy. Come on. I mean, if you really want to look at it, that streak didn't really start taking off until about 14 or 15, but 13 maybe. But who cares? I mean, listen, it's all, even in sports, all records are meant to be taken down and fall. You mean who cares? The guy had a 25-year run in WWE. One loss is not going to. One or two losses aren't going to matter. And if you're a Roman Reigns fan, you're like, oh, look, he's the other guy who beat the Undertaker. Roman Reigns beat an old Undertaker. It's like, I don't know. It's like Mike Tyson beating an old Larry Holmes back in '88. Who cares? Mike Tyson destroyed Larry Holmes. Who cares? Larry Holmes is over 40. So that's that with Roman Reigns. So and then Vince, the limo pulls up backstage. We don't see the limos anymore. Vince McMahon came out, and the crowd oohed and awed. And he comes in. He comes to the ring. The fans are cheering him. A couple of the wrestling shows and analysts pointed this out. I said this too. If there's this, on one hand, they hate Roman Reigns because he's being pushed down our throats, and they hate Vince McMahon for being out of touch with the fans. But then he appears, and they worship him. They sing his song, his theme music. They bow down to him. They do the bow. Well, I mean, yeah, they told him Roman sucks, and he no sold it. He's like, oh, if that's what you feel. He could have He could have care less. He no sold him, and then he turned around and he pandered to the crowd. He said, "Oh, I don't do this often, but thank you for making this the ultimate thrill ride." And he thanked the fans for the WrestleMania weekend. And then he announced next week is going to be on the April 10th edition of Raw. There's going to be a superstar shakeup. It's not a draft. It's probably just trades. They're going to have trades between Raw and SmackDown. Now, with that being said, Sunday, Stephanie McMahon took a table bump. So Vince McMahon also announced that she was out of action for a while. And since Mick Foley, the Raw general manager, was fired, there was nobody in place. So he hired Kurt Angle, who was just inducted to the Hall of Fame. He hired him as a Raw general manager. He got a big pop. The fans, teased him with the "you suck, you suck," but they love him. He was good in his first episode, even though he was sweating through like crazy. He was sweating profusely. His whole suit was wet on his back. You could see his perspiration, but it's okay. Uh, he had a nice little funny exchange with Enzo and Big Cass. We'll see. It looks like he was already at a place in the 2017 version of Raw, but he's going to be good. I think we could get a few good months, maybe to a year, out of Kurt Angle as the GM. Uh, so he'll be there next week with the Raw uh, uh, trades and the superstar shakeup. So then, other news, we saw Charlotte Flair. She turned and she was in a six-woman tag team match, and she lost. And she kind of turned on her partners. She was shoving Nia Jax, and then Nia Jax roughed her up a little bit. So a lot of people were speculating: is this going to signal a face turn for Charlotte Flair? I think so. I think they should do it. I mean, her character's stale. I sung her praises many times. She is not only the best female performer in WWE. I think she's one of the best performers all around in WWE. She's I think in the top 5, maybe 10 performers in WWE as far as being the whole package. And much like her father, I think Charlotte could pull off being a heel and a face. And switching interchangeably every so often, just like Ric Flair used to. Then, of course, the Hardy Boys, the new tag team champs, they won WrestleMania. Uh, we talked. Well, I'll talk about them. Debuts. The Revival debuted from NXT. Again, we don't. You can't. You don't. We don't know if they're going to stick around on Raw or SmackDown. Well, that's the same for everything. And then the big Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe beat up Jericho backstage and put him through a table. So it was Seth Rollins was supposed to partner with him, and Jericho was at action. And Kurt Angle promised him he would find them a partner. I knew this going from the morning that Finn Balor was. I predicted it many months ago that Finn Balor would return the night after WrestleMania. It only made sense because putting him into storylines and he wouldn't fit, it would be too confusing. So he was the mystery partner. He returned. He got a big pop. The fans were really into his entrance. He got the pin over KO. And listen, last summer he got a super huge push after they pulled the plug on Roman Reigns. He won those two big matches in his debut on Raw. He won the inaugural Universal title when at SummerSlam, right? Was SummerSlam against Seth Rollins? So he got pushed to the moon. I mean, he got hurt against Seth Rollins. It's nobody's fault, I guess. And he had to relinquish the title the next night. So this guy, they have big plans for him. They had big plans for him. I mean, that is not, they're going to say, oh, well, how come they don't look at him as being injury prone? That's not an injury that you get hurt. That's a serious injury. It's not an injury that it's not an everyday typical injury. But he had a torn labrum that was from the buckle bomb he received on the outside on the barricade. And that was another thing. A lot of fans were complaining that the storyline didn't make sense. Why would Finn Balor return to team up with the guy that put him out of action? Listen, uh, you can't tie up every storyline. I understand it's too you don't can't make everything too confusing and have 100 storylines in each episode. They did acknowledge it at the end, at the close of Raw. They stared each other down. Balor and Rollins stared each other down, and then Seth Rollins lifted his hand. We see Seth Rollins. This is definitely he's a face. He's definitely a face turn now after this WrestleMania, his victory over Triple H. So he's a face. And then after Raw went off the air, it was continued on Raw Talk. They showed Goldberg giving his speech. He was getting booed. I don't know why the fans were booing him, and he got upset a little bit. He told, "Listen, uh, he kept telling the fans this is he wasn't talking from a script. He was from his heart. He was shooting. Vince gave him an open mic. Vince will do that. It's off. It's off. It's not on TV, so he doesn't really care. And Goldberg deserves it. And Goldberg kept talking about how hard he trained coming back, and he did it for his family. He pointed to his wife and kid, who was ringside, and he invited his kid. His kid came over the barricade and fell, which was kind of funny. And Goldberg said, "Look, he's taking bumps already." It was funny. It was cute. He's a cute kid. He can't be more than 10 years old. Uh, and Goldberg pretty much retired. He said at least for now. He left the door open, but he's retired. He's got to be 50. And come on, and he already said how much he hates it. If he's coming back, it's got to be within this year, or at least next WrestleMania. Because I mean, come on, it looked like the fans were tired of Goldberg already. You know what it is with Goldberg? You could only see his act for so long, and what I mean by the act is of him demolishing everybody in front of him in under 2 minutes. It's good in the beginning, but then it gets predictable. And then again, once he gets beat, like he did in the past, or did like after Brock beat him at WrestleMania, it takes all the oomph away. Nobody really wants to see it. That's what happened with Mike Tyson. I got another Mike Tyson reference. Back in the day, in the '80s, when he was knocking everybody out in 2 rounds in the first round, it was great. But then once he lost, it was like, it kind of took away from him. But anyway, so now the Undertaker retired, Goldberg retired. So tonight on SmackDown Live, they had opened with a street fight with Baron Corbin and Dean Ambrose. Their match at WrestleMania fell flat. They were on the pre-show, I think, and I think they ran out. They didn't have enough time. It fell flat. It was a throwaway match. Tonight was okay. It was better. Baron won this one, but I think it was non-title. This is for some reason it's falling flat. I don't know. I don't know. And what they had more NXT call-ups tonight. Ty Dillinger debuted against Kurt Hawkins again. All these NXT call-ups and debuts. You got to wait until next week to see where they're going to land. Then they had a Mojo Rawley interview, and I don't know. Was it me? I think it looked very awkward. The interview. I don't know. It looked very awkward with him and the interviewer. He's like, "Do you feel it? Do you feel it?" She's like, "No, not really." It's like, wow. But then we had a Shane McMahon and AJ Styles confrontation. Shane was sporting a little black eye. I mean, AJ was sporting a little black eye. They shook hands, and then AJ pretended to pop him, but then they laughed. They threw the respect. Is this the Shane? Is this the AJ Styles face turn? We'll see. Then we saw the Miz and Maurice promo again. They dressed up as Cena and Nikki Bella. It was funny. I love that they embarrassed John Cena. And then Nakamura, music hit, the violin, the crowd was into it. He didn't do nothing except the entrance. The fans were into it. Again, somebody asked me how did the fans react. They reacted. It's a debut. Is he going to be able to sustain it? I don't know. What happens after he loses a couple times? Is he over, or is the entrance over? We'll see. I don't know. The main event was Randy Orton and Luke Harper against Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan. Again, I don't know. I said it in the last episode. I don't know. This whole storyline is just it's not doing it for me. And I think it's not doing it for the fans. I don't understand all these Bray Wyatt. He uses all these powers with the cockroaches and the maggots and the worms in the ring. And then tonight he did it again. The screen went dark. He disappeared, and it transported outside the ring. And Eric Rowan took the loss. With all these powers, he still loses. So what good is he? Anyway, so that's it. We'll see next week on Raw. The Superstar Shakeup. It's not a draft. They're probably going to do a couple of trades. Who are they going to trade? I don't know. Maybe they'll trade Roman. Roman will go to SmackDown, freshen up his opponents, get him away from Brock. I don't think they're ready to do that yet. Who knows? We'll see. It'll be interesting. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.